That's why I usually come out and I try and make that connection with fans as well. I try and find or spot a younger female in the audience to give my flower, my say away to them and be like, hey, I see you. You're probably here with maybe like your brothers dragged you along or something like that. Us women can do it too. You can do it as well if you want to. It's like, come along, give it a go.
Hello everybody and welcome once again. It is episode lucky number 13 of That Sweet Pop. My name is Dale McCracken and he is Brad Lewis. And man, we've got something a little bit different this week. We're gonna give it a bit of a try. Our WrestleMania card predictions, our far too early WrestleMania card predictions, as you called them last week, Brad.
I can't wait for this. You know me, Dion. Every week I'm fantasy booking on this show. Love doing that. So I'm really looking forward to this, man, because I think there may be some similarities, but I reckon we'll probably have quite a fair few differences as well, which is always fun.
Yeah, nice. And of course, later on the show, we bring you part 2 of our interview with New Zealand Women's Champion Mighty Maia. You're going to want to stick around for that. But in the meantime, let's kick into these too early WrestleMania card predictions. It's our top story. All right, Brad. Well, I've got my predictions all set. I understand you've done the same. I feel like this is almost it was your idea. I'd like to offer you the opportunity to come out with your night one predictions first. You want me to go first? I'm easy.
No, I'll go first, mate. I'll go first because this was my idea. All right. Okay. So setting the table, and as we head in to WrestleMania, here are my champions. My World Heavyweight Champion on Raw is Bron Breakker. My Intercontinental Champion is Dom Mysterio. He will win that title back. We saw John Cena claim that on Monday Night Raw. My Women's World Champ is Steph Vaquer. My WWE Champ is Cody Rhodes. My WWE Women's Champ is Jade Cargill. And Becky's still got the IC title. Ilya Dragunov's still got the US title. So I'm going to start off on night one. And my main event of night one of WrestleMania in Las Vegas is the World Heavyweight Champion Bron Breakker versus the Royal Rumble winner, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns.
Interesting. Okay.
That is my night one WrestleMania main event. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of this depends on whether or not Seth Rollins is injured or not. But my co-main event in an I Quit match, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk.
Okay, I can see that. Yep, yes. Good.
For the men's Intercontinental Championship, I've got the Judgment Day imploding. I've got Dom Mysterio versus Finn Balor versus J.D. McDonagh, and this will be a crowning moment for J.D. McDonagh. Triple H is a big fan of his, and I would have him win the IC belt. So I reckon that you give those guys 10, 12 minutes, it'll be a banger match. So I've got that for my IC title. My fourth match on the card for the WWE Women's title, I've got the champion, for the Women's World title, I've got the champion Stephanie Vaquer versus Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan in a triple threat match. I really, really wanted to keep this to a singles match between Steph and Rhea, but I could not find a marquee match for Liv on the card, and she's so good and so over, she absolutely deserves it. I had to pigeon her in somewhere, and this was the only way that made sense. My next match is my meat match for night one. It's Big Bronson Reed versus the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of meat.
Yeah, and given that you'll be ringside, there'll be meat coming your way. And I will have, in my next match, I'll have a tweener LA Knight versus a tweener Chris Jericho.
Oh, here we go.
I think the promos heading into that would be fantastic. I'd have Jericho re-debut at the Rumble in Saudi Arabia. I'd have LA Knight eliminate him, and that leads to some sort of some sort of angle that can go through Elimination Chamber for those two. And then in my mishmash match of night one, I need to fit a whole bunch of women into a tag team title match. So I've got the women's tag team titles. I've got Lash, Legend, and Nia Jax, who I believe will be champions by then, against Giulia and Io Sky, against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, against the Kabuki Warriors, and against a new team that I've come up with because I couldn't get Tiffany Stratton on the card, against Tiffany Stratton and Blake Monroe from NXT. I think they're a ready-made tag team. So that is my night one. We can certainly delve into how the results go, but what did you think? Is that a night one that you would enjoy if you were ringside, which you will be in Las Vegas in about 6 months' time, Dion?
Yeah, well, first off, I won't be ringside because, as you well know, I'm not a billionaire.
No.
But I
about
will
77 rows back.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll be more ringside than you on that night. I'm sorry to say, I don't mean to rub it in.
That's brutal, man. He's got me.
By the way, my wife is coming to Las Vegas. She is not attending any of the shows. I'll be at WrestleMania. She's going to be sipping margaritas and old fashions back at the hotel, waiting for me to come back before we go out to dinner. But we'll get to that. I liked that. I really like that. Interesting already, completely different to what I've got, but some similarities here and there. I like the tag teams that you've thrown together. That was tough for me thinking of this, trying to figure out those pieces of the puzzle that don't fit. How could you fit more people into this without it becoming WrestleMania 2000 full of triple threats and fatal four-ways, right? Roman Reigns versus Bron Breakker, that's what you got headlining night one? Yeah,
so I've got Bron dethroning Punk at the Rumble. And then potentially running through Punk again, although the Chamber is in Chicago, but could we see like maybe Bron versus Punk at Chamber and Seth gets involved trying to break up both guys and ends up costing Punk by accident? I don't know how we do that, but that leads towards that. And then you can move on to another program for Seth. And I see this WrestleMania I Quit match as the end of CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, and then we move on to Seth Rollins avenging what happened to him with the Vision with Paul Heyman, Bron and Bron. But I reckon you need like a good solid end, and I think the time is to pull the trigger on Bron versus Roman. And although it feels like the time is right to put the title back on Roman Reigns, I would have Bron Breakker win that match clean.
Yeah.
So you absolutely cement him as the guy. And there's a lot of people in discourse around WWE with the John Cena retirement tour, Jericho coming back potentially, AJ Styles, CM Punk. They're too old. Strap the rocket to Bron Breakker, have him beat Roman Reigns in a 15-minute, like, hard-hitting, great matchup. No shenanigans, Dion. Bron wins clean, and maybe Roman shakes his hand at the end of the match and say, maybe there's a new big dog in town.
Yeah. I like that, except it'll be 45 minutes because it's the main event of WrestleMania night one, right? And it was a match that was teased early on, or I can't remember the exact moment, but there was a situation where Bron and Roman were in each other's vicinity. They were in the same area code, and people thought, "Hello, this could be a tremendous matchup." And I think the timing is right. Spoiler: that's not my main event for WrestleMania night one that I've got, but I like it. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, and look, LA Knight Jericho makes sense to me. Those guys are money. I had thought about Jericho, AJ Styles, but they've fought at WrestleMania before. I've got AJ in a different program on night two. So I think that'd be a great match. The promos would be great. And I think Jacob versus Bronson, that could be very, very short, but very violent, like just a very short 4 or 5 minute match in the middle of the night, middle of the card. And I'd have Jacob Fatu go over clean as well. And I'd have, as I said, JD McDonagh win the IC title. I'd have Rollins go over Punk, and I'd have Rhea win the title by pinning Liv, so that you can still keep Stephanie and Rhea to move forward for the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, right. What's your match of the night for that night one? What do you think would take it?
I'm a big fan of Dom, big fan of JD McDonagh. I think Dom, Finn, and JD could steal the show, much like Bianca, Rhea, and Io did on night 2, I think it was, Dion, of this WrestleMania just gone, which is one of the best triple threat matches I've ever seen. I also think Seth and CM Punk with their storytelling could steal the show as well. But and the women's, I just think I've put together batting my own back, but just a really interesting night. There is a lot of multi-person matches there, so I get that that's not popular for everyone, but there's people that deserve to be on the card, and you can intertwine storylines around that. So now I'm going to ask you where you're going for your night one. Can't wait for this. This is fun.
Radio. Let's go. So I'm not going to tell you who my champions are leading in, but you'll get a taste for it when we crack into it.
Fair enough.
Now, I'm going to start off with my main event of WrestleMania Saturday. This is out the gate. Are you ready?
I am, mate.
For the WWE Championship, your champion, Drew McIntyre, defending his championship against LA Knight to main event night 1 of WrestleMania Saturday. Now, I will give you the hot tip. He replaced Sami Zayn in a late card is subject to change. Well, the card changed 5 minutes before we went on air, and I thought, actually, let's throw LA Knight in there. So, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Knight wins. That's where I'm going with that. That's my dark horse. For the WWE Women's Championship, the reigning champion, still Jade Cargill, defending in a fatal 4-way, of course, against Giulia, Bayley, and Chelsea Green, dethroned as United States Women's Champion. So Jade Cargill against Giulia, Bayley, Chelsea Green. Giulia picks up the win for mine. Gets that WWE
Giulia wins the title. Nice. Love.
I too believe Judgment Day is due to implode at WrestleMania. I've gone through a different route though. So mine is in a ladder match because everyone knows that you're contractually obliged to have.
I've got one on night 2, mate, so I'm with you on this.
Well, not just contractually obliged to the ladder match, but that control of a faction can change via contract. And what better way than to hang it 25 feet above the ring? But mine is in a mixed tag team match. Dominik Mysterio and Liv Morgan versus Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez. Ladder match for control of Judgment Day.
Money. Love it.
I've also gone with Seth and Bron Breakker in a singles match. So Bron Breakker versus Seth, a returning Seth Rollins coming back from that injury. And why not? Special guest referee, Bronson Reed. I know he wants to be on the card. I know he wants to be wrestling, but...
Got to get him on somehow.
Shenanigans.
Yeah.
A returning Bianca Belair in singles action against Tiffany Stratton. Why not? Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. I'm going to have them on night 1 in a singles match. How long has this match been rumored for? I think about 8,500 years. But we are due, and let's see what happens. And my final match on night 1, the obligatory Big Boppers match of the night, notwithstanding the fact we just had Brock Lesnar and Gunther, is Obafemi versus Jacob Fatu. I thought could be an interesting matchup. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Again, they're big boppers, and you got to get them both on the card, I think, at that stage.
Love that.
So that's my night 1, man.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love Bianca and Tiff. There's a lot you can tell there. The athleticism between those two is amazing. You could certainly set that up at Rumble, right? Like between those two, something going on between those two. Gunther Brock, spoiler alert, they may feature heavily on my night 2 card. Not going to lie. I love Drew and LA Knight. A lot of rumors about LA Knight's current state with WWE, whether or not he's pissed off the head honchos, but there's 2 blokes that deserve the spotlight, right? And I kind of feel like LA Knight versus Jericho was enough spotlight to give him, but I would not complain about that. Who would you have going over in that?
LA Knight. I mean, full disclosure, this match I don't believe for a second is going to happen.
No.
Just for a bit of fun.
We're fantasy booking.
I do remember at WrestleMania 39 in Cali when LA Knight was just starting to get on the verge of stardom, and fans were really cheerleading him, really wanted to be put over. I was there that weekend.
He was in the Battle Royal, wasn't he?
He was in the Battle Royal, and he got eliminated. The fans were chanting LA Knight all night. He got eliminated. The place just went crazy. They were spewing. Feels like it's been such a slow burn. I don't know if the time has passed or not, or if he'll eventually get there. But why not? Bit of fun, him and Drew.
I think he's a guy you could heat up pretty quickly as well. So, look, I don't have an issue with that. Look, I think your card is great. Seth versus Bron. I'd imagine you've got Breaker going over, or do you have Seth out shenanigans the Brons?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know, because Bronson Reed, clearly a special guest referee, is, like I said, it's cause for the shenanigans. I don't know what's in Bronson's head. I don't know which way he's going to go, and more importantly, what's in Paul Heyman's head. So we'll see how that plays out in fantasy booking land. But
Love it.
That's my night one. That will take us to WrestleMania Sunday, night 2. Dude, hit us with it.
All right. For the WWE Championship, I have a triple threat match, which will close out WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes, the champ, versus Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton.
Nice. A lot of story here.
So much story between Randy and Drew, and Cody and Drew, and the history between Cody and Randy. This made the most sense to me to get Drew on the card. When I put my card out, I had Drew nowhere. So I was thinking maybe you could potentially have turned Drew babyface and do Drew Logan Paul, but Logan Paul, spoiler alert, doesn't make my card. I couldn't fit him anywhere. Maybe he's in the Battle Royal the night before. I have no doubt that Logan Paul will make this card, but I just couldn't fit him anywhere. So Cody, Drew, Randy, and I have Drew winning the title.
You mentioned Drew as babyface. Drew is babyface.
Well,
just none of us know that.
Yeah. He's babyface in his own mind. But look, what are we, Dion? We're 4 or 5 years removed from his COVID championship reign. He deserves it. And in front of 60,000 people, including Dion McCracken in Las Vegas, 50,000 people, whatever it's going to be, I'd have Drew ending the WrestleMania as the champ. You could definitely tease something between Randy and Cody. I definitely don't have Randy turning heel. I keep him as he is, but I have Cody turning heel later into 2026 with my fantasy booking through losing the title here. So that's where I go. Now, controversially, I have a triple threat match for the women's title as well. Again, it was needs must. I have Jade Cargill versus Charlotte Flair versus the Royal Rumble winner Bianca Belair in my women's title match, on a WWE women's title match.
Nice one.
Jade is going to run through everyone. She's going to look like an unbeatable, unstoppable champion, but she's coming up against probably the 2 greatest WrestleMania women's performers outside of Mercedes Moné, and Bianca and Charlotte. I think this could be the match that steals the weekend. I even thought about putting it on last, but I just I wouldn't want to take that away from Drew. For the IC women's title, Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Has to happen.
Yeah. There's rumors of this too, right?
Indeed. A Royal Rumble I'm hearing, but I don't know how AJ's going to go having to wear a full-fledged outfit at the Royal Rumble. So Becky versus AJ Lee. For the men's US title, Ilya Dragunov versus Ethan Page, who is currently running amok in NXT. I was tossing up between Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, Obafemi. I just went with Ethan Page because I think there's a lot about him. He's doing great things at the moment. He's a hell of a hand on the mic. Yeah. He's a great character. I have my meat match of night 2, which is Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. I open night 2 with that match because Brock's going to want to get out of there as soon as possible, isn't he, to get back to Saskatoon or wherever he's from in Canada.
Get back to the ranch.
And I have Gunther winning clean in like 4 minutes.
Wow.
Very, 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 very quick match. And Brock meets his maker in Gunther. And then you start pushing Gunther, having what I think will be a retiring John Cena, has like an Iron Man performance in the Rumble, but comes up short and then beats Brock.
I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be the one telling Brock Lesnar, hey, here's the payday, but you've got 4 minutes, pal.
Tough cookies, buddy. Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles. Take my money. And I would start to hint towards a Sami Zayn heel turn in this match, with AJ going over in probably his last WrestleMania match. So I've got AJ winning that. Then I have my ladder match for the unified tag team titles, Dion, because I'm so sick of 2 tag titles that aren't booked properly in the men's division. So I've got the MFTs, which is a combination of 2 of those guys, whoever you want, JC and Solo, I don't care, versus the Usos, Couldn't find anywhere to fit them on the card, so I've got them here versus the Lucha Bros, Penta and Rey Fenix, versus the Street Profits versus DIY. Put that somewhere in the middle of night 2, and you've got a hell of a matchup. And people will notice a few people like Damian Priest, Aleister Black, Logan Paul, and a couple of others that are on the card. I have Aleister Black winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I have Alexa Bliss winning the newly created China Joni Laura Memorial Battle Royal on SmackDown the night before.
Oh, wow. What a great idea that is. Yeah, what a great idea. And I'm looking at it now, I'm surprised that there hasn't been a woman's version of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We've gone through this period, of course, of what's good for the goose is good for the gander, so to speak. So, yeah, you might be onto something there. And I like Penta and Rey Fenix together. I didn't even think about that, but WrestleMania feels like the perfect opportunity to do that. I think it was you and I speaking recently about the fact that it didn't feel like they were going to be tagging anytime soon, or WWE were keeping them apart. But man, WrestleMania season, that's the time to do it.
And they're not doing much with Rey, right? Like he's just losing to the MFTs every week. So
yeah, he's just
hopefully that leads to something for him, like something bigger than this. Because he's a hell of a talent. I feel like with Penta, Dion, he's someone who I think they trust, and they can just slot him in wherever they want. Yep. I mean, he's as over as Rover. So like I had no idea what to do with Jay and Jimmy. No idea.
Yeah.
So I just chucked them in this match. I don't think this is probably where they'll end up, but hey, this is my card, so that's what I went with.
Well, I'll give you the hot tip. They've got the weekend off. When I look at my card, I'm like, yeah, Jay and Jimmy. Ugh. Maybe I've got about 30 seconds to slot them in somewhere. Nice, man. Yeah, I like that a lot. And I like how you've thought through the perhaps the also rans going the Andre the Giant and Joni Laura Memorial Battle Royals. Very good.
Where are you going, mate, for your night 2? Cannot wait for this.
Righty-ho. So here we go. Night 2, WrestleMania Sunday, kicking things off. The World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk defending against your tribal chief, Roman Reigns. WrestleMania. So I can see that on a poster.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a pretty big main event, isn't it?
Yeah. Very nice. Co-main event. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Cody is a championship-less competitor this WrestleMania, I'm sorry to say. Of course, having lost that championship to Drew McIntyre before the end of this year, one would imagine. The Women's World Championship, Stephanie Vaquer defending the championship against Rhea Ripley. Standard. Yeah. What was yours? Was yours a triple threat?
Yeah. I had Steph versus Rhea versus Liv, but I'm a big fanboy for Liv Morgan. I had to get her in a marquee match, but I think Stephanie Rhea is where they're going. 100%.
Yeah. Again, after that recent interaction, Becky Lynch defending the Intercontinental Championship against Asuka, singles competition. I've got a TLC match for the WWE United States Championship. Ilya Dragunov versus AJ Styles versus Logan Paul versus the newly injected Sami Zayn, who just had his main event robbed, versus Carmelo Hayes versus Grayson Waller. So Ilya Dragunov, AJ Styles, Logan Paul, Sami Zayn, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller. That's 6 men. You could throw 2
Does
more. Does
Carmelo win that? To he deserves that. Like I feel like they're kind of scraping water with Carmelo. That feels like a big moment for him.
Well, you know who might win it is the recently injected Jay and Jimmy Uso, who have just been added to that match.
To make it an 8-man match. I like that.
I haven't thought that far ahead, but I think Carmelo Hayes would make the most sense at that stage. I mean, Ilya Dragunov would be a nice long reign. AJ doesn't need it. It would be nice. Logan Paul, he's had it. Sami Zayn, he's had all sorts of success as of late. Grayson Waller, I think, is a good talent who could use a bit more of a spotlight, but not the US Championship at that stage. Yeah, Carmelo would be a good pick, I think.
Love it.
All right, I've got 2 more matches on the card. I'm not convinced that this program is going to run that long, but I've got Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair in singles competition after the implosion at the Royal Rumble. And in my final match of night 1 on WrestleMania Sunday, El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano in a mask versus mask match in the true traditions of Undertaker versus Undertaker at SummerSlam 94.
Indeed. Don't you think there's the potential, Dion, just on that? And I was thinking about this, and I'd probably have them. I was thinking about El Grande versus El Grande as well. And then I like, maybe I put this on the night before on SmackDown on what they always do, a mega SmackDown, is you have El Grande and Uno and Dos, or whatever they're called, versus the Creed brothers and the other El Grande, Chad Gable, I think.
Yeah, that works.
So you got the European El Grandes versus the American El Grandes, and like a Mexican death match. What
is the Mexican death match? Do you think it's
I
got
don't
anything
know.
to do
It's
with
no different to a last man standing or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
I imagine so.
Yeah, that's great. Like, and mate, Ludwig Kaiser and Chad Gable would put on an absolute banger.
Yeah,
like,
and it would be
a
hilarious.
banger enough.
It'd be comedy gold, and whether they finish things with the Spider-Man spot, even though there's just two of them, or I'd actually be fascinated to see how that one resolves itself, because a resolution has to come at some stage. I think it's going to be a good one. When's Chad Gable back? I'm not too sure what his injury status is.
He's due back January, I think. So, and I mean, like, do they put him into some sort of program with El Grande? Like, we'll see how that plays out. Do you know what I find really interesting is how different our cards were for a start. There are a couple of very, very close ones there, but also how tough a job Paul Levesque and his booking committee are going to have putting 14, 15 matches together over the course, because he sort of sits around that 7-match card thing per night, might chuck in an 8th one on either night. Yeah. But how tough a job they've got trying to put this together, because those plans are already in motion, Survivor Series, and when they start thinking about that, we've seen some teasers along the way. There's going to be a lot of unhappy talent that aren't going to make this card, and there might be a lot of unhappy fans who don't like multi-person manias, because if you want to fit the top 30 people on this roster, you're going to need multi-person matches. So like, I found this really difficult. So I mean, look, there's great people I didn't even have on either night. So a lot of fun, but very difficult.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of WrestleMania 2000, which was notorious for damn near every match being a triple threat and a fatal 4-way. By the way, I don't have a tag team championship match on either night, because
night before.
I'm a huge SmackDown, right? I'm a huge fan of tag team wrestling. I wrote a column 20 odd years ago talking about the downfall of tag team wrestling. It seemed to bounce back reasonably well the last, I guess, 5 to 10 years, but even though there's a lot of tag team work, especially on SmackDown, it's just, I don't know, it's just not engaging at the moment.
They have to reunify the titles, right? Like, the women's tag titles are unified, Charlotte and it's now the Kabuki Warriors on both shows. You've got 8 or 9 really decent tag teams, if you include the MFTs and the Wyatt Six, who didn't even make my card. I think you limit it by having 2 sets of champions. And, if you add the Lucha Brothers and the Usos to the tag team division, you've got a tag team division that threatens to be as good as what AEW was producing when they had the Lucha Bros, FTR, the Young Bucks. I mean, their tag team division, the Acclaimed, the Gun Brothers, through that whole period was as good a tag team wrestling division as we've seen. And you've got enough good tag teams now where you could do that. But 2 tag titles, everyone gets lost in the shuffle. And I mean, where the hell are the War Raiders? Like,
where are the War Raiders? Yeah, maybe they lost their paddles. I suppose the good thing for a Triple H is you can use the limited spots for WrestleMania. I guess like the All Blacks coach. Fellas, I've got 15 on the park. I've got 8 on the bench. I've got 23 spots to fill. You make sure that you're one of the 23 that must be in this game. But it was tough for me on paper. It's tough for you on paper. It's got to be real tough for those guys in real life. But again, earn your spot. Make it the greatest card it can be. If you miss out, sorry about it.
Absolutely. And all we can do now is sit back and watch this. And I think maybe our post-Royal Rumble show, I think, Dion, we will look back at these predictions and potentially we could turn it into what we actually think will happen at Mania, because we'll get a better understanding come Royal Rumble. But I think it's a chocolate fish each to either of us if any of these matches come to fruition. I think Rhea versus the Steph is highly likely, as is Jade versus Bianca, with Charlotte Flair potentially thrown in the mix as well.
As has Gunther and Brock Lesnar. So I think, to be fair, out of these 14 matches, either of us will be doing very well to get any more than 2. We'll see how it goes, and we'll come back and let's review it, see how we get on. But it was a lot of fun. It was also a lot of fun speaking with Mighty Maia, New Zealand Women's Champion, and we bring you part 2 of that interview right after this.
This is B. Priestley, the Top Gaijin, and you are listening to That Sweet Pop.
If you look at the Auckland shows that I've been to, Maya, when you look at sort of under 16, under 18-year-olds, I'd say it's a 50-50 split, right, between young boys and young girls that are going. And what I think is really great is that you guys as talent try and connect with those kids, not just during the match, but after it as well, by meeting them out the back. And my daughter, for instance, her second preferred job is to become a pro wrestler, and she absolutely loves the whole spectacle of it all. How important to you is that connection with the sort of, the preteens and then the teenagers as well, just to let them know that you are a real person and, encourage that, accomplish your dreams. And if you guys want to do this, come along, come to a training session and get involved. If they're old enough.
If they're old enough, that's a major factor. But I think that is a huge thing to get that crowd reaction, especially trying to inspire the younger people and the youth and people who are just almost a foot in the door to be old enough to train with us. That's why I usually come out and I try and make that connection with fans as well. I try and find or spot a younger female in the audience to give my flower, my say away to them and be like, hey, I see you. You're probably here with maybe your brothers dragged you along or something like that. Us women can do it too. You can do it as well if you want to. It's come along, give it a go.
Yeah, love that. And there's no greater showcase of that at the moment than the women's wrestling scene in North America, right? The ladies are killing it. Brad and I often talk on this show about women's wrestling at the moment is much more enjoyable than what the men are putting on. It's much more athletic and overall a better product. Do you follow the North American promotions still? And do you have any heroes of your own or current talent that you not necessarily mimic, but someone who you admire and would like to maybe get into the ring with one day?
I do try and watch mainstream, or not mainstream, but I still try and watch WWE and AEW, a little bit of New Japan as well. That NXT women are killing it, WWE women are killing it, AEW women are killing it. And it's really awesome to see. I try and draw inspiration from a myriad of women's talent and stuff like that, because they're doing amazing. There's a reason why they're doing amazing as well. I have had my eye on Nia Jax a little bit. She's this awesome, badass, big Samoan woman, and it's just I would like to emulate that as much as I can as well, maybe even get in the ring with her as well. So I'm ready. I would love to step in the ring and be honored to step in the ring with either one of them, either woman on the card. That's me. Let's go.
Absolutely. I'd pay to watch that. Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin once famously said that, the best characters are the guys and girls that play themselves, but ramped up by 10%, right? So just 10% a bit over the top. And I get the feeling talking to you that your character is actually just an extension of yourself. Do you feel that as well, that, you channel your culture and you channel your judoka background, and it's just a wee extension of who Maia is, the person that's sitting in their house right now with their title and the Samoan flag behind them?
I mean, 100% with the title and the flag behind me, that's 100% me. Especially with last night and seeing so many people flying the flag as well, is cool. I can turn it up. Let's go 100%. You guys want to go to a parade? Nah, we've got the parade at Outdoor Showdown. Let's bloody go. So there's that. And then my judo background as well. I'm it's just badass that I can pull out all these cool looking moves and stuff. And it's that comes natural to me. that is 100% me. So yeah, I'm pretty chill and kind of quiet at home, but like when I step out into the ring, once I pass that curtain, I got to turn that up. I got to elevate it. I got to give people like, something, they paid to come and see us. I got to like entertain the people, make them feel like they got their money's worth.
So we're 20 minutes into the interview, and you're what I call in the industry good talent. This has been a very comfortable interview. You've been able to carry yourself really, really well. How do you find the promo side of things? Is that something that is a work on for you? Does it come naturally? Is it something that, because the best wrestlers in the world can all cut an amazing promo. Is that something that you're constantly working on? Is that ability to look down the barrel or to look at old mate in the third row and connect with them?
I think with the audience connection, when it's face to face, it's very easy. However, cutting camera promos and stuff, so then we can like put that on social media and stuff like that, I feel like I'll be honest, I struggle a little bit with that. I know my acting isn't probably that great because I'm like, I'm a woman who, just goes out and I go fussy the person who's across from me in the ring. Like, I'm there to beat them up. Like, I don't really need to talk about it. My actions do, what is it? Fighting does the actions for me and stuff. Like, I'm a woman of very little words. And I guess when it comes to promo and stuff, I try and use as little words as I can possible because I know that I can just go beat them up if I really want to. Like, why would I talk about it when I can just do that?
Easy, Pat. Yeah, easy money.
What do you enjoy most about performing then? You talk about Aotearoa Showdown on the weekend and that 24, 48 hours post-match. What's the thing that's still got you buzzing?
I would say the connection. It was the same when we had the showcase at Bites and Beats as well, and just being able to see all the little kids there and all the young women and all the young girls that were there who were completely buzzing when I entered the ring and put on like a great match or a great segment that I did in Bites and Beats. And then just them coming up to me at the end of it as well and being like, "Oh, you're Mighty Maia, you did really well, you had a really good match." I'm like, oh, like, the ability to inspire the younger women and the younger girls is what really resonates with me and what, is a really big take home for me. It's just being able to get that connection because, like I said before, like a lot of these younger girls are probably there because their brothers are like, "Oh, there's wrestling on, we really want to go." And for them, it's just like, "Oh, well, is there any women on it? Like, can I relate to any of the women that are on the card?" And I'm here like, here I am, like, "Hello, how are you?" Yeah, so just being able to get that female connection is such a big thing for me.
Do you feel there's like in the last 6 to 9 months there's been a real boost in attendance numbers? Like to me, like I look at the Dewdrop on the weekend, big crowd there, fans bring the weapons, was sold out, probably could have sold another 150, 200 tickets if they really wanted to. Freeman's Bay was decent. Like I'm only seeing the Auckland side of things, but you see a lot more than that. Do you feel like there's a bit of like a mini boom period for independent wrestling in New Zealand at the moment?
For sure, especially because with New Zealand, people aren't very aware that, New Zealand has a live wrestling scene. And so here we are. And then I think with WWE being on Netflix and that being so accessible to everyone that, they are keen to watch what, local talent have and are keen to check out like what's wrestling like when you're watching it there in person. And I just think it's so awesome because everyone is putting in the work. All the talent are training their butts off. And yeah, I think it's just amazing to continue to see those numbers grow. And I hope they never stop growing. Like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm. What surprised you most about being in the wrestling business?
I would say, there is a different playing field. It's a different field for me. For me, with judo, like you have to fight to win, and like yes, of course, you're fighting to win with wrestling as well. But there is a different approach to how wrestling is compared to how like combat competitive sports is as well. Like you got to learn so much about like not female, but audience connection, and being able to, play a character who's not necessarily you. Like, so if you have other people who are like playing someone who does not resonate them with well, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to be like Jesus, for example, or like, okay, cool, like I'm going to be like this really rampant, what do you call it? The asylum kind of character. And it's like, okay, how does that kind of make sense? So I don't know. I would say like wrestling psychology is probably the thing that I had to try and get used to when it came to wrestling as well.
You mentioned earlier in the show that you did a lot of sport before you got into judo. What other sporting interests do you have? Do you watch the Warriors? Do you watch the All Blacks, like the Silver Ferns? Are you a sporty person?
I used to be a really sporty person back in the day. Like it felt like every single day after school I had something on. It would be like netball training, touch training, basketball training, judo training, boxing, yada yada yada. So I've always loved sport. I don't watch it as much as I used to. I'm very consistent with rugby and rugby league. Mainly rugby league, up the wires, up the top, something more. So I'm constantly watching that. It's just like every weekend it's like, okay, cool. Who's playing? And then if I have a wrestling show, it's like, okay, what rugby league matches am I missing out on? Can I still watch the Warriors? Can I still watch the Sydney Roosters? So those are the two teams that I back with rugby league. And netball, I don't really watch netball as much as I do. Yeah.
We talked earlier about, the limited female talent, as good as it is, but the limited pool. What's your take on intergender wrestling? If there is a little bit of a gap and we need to, get Maia on the card a little bit more, and we have seen you mix it up with the guys from time to time. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Where do you sit?
Intergender matches. Yeah, I like them. Personally, I like them. I'm not afraid to get in and like mess around and, give the boys a little bit of crap. A little bit of roughhouse, why not?
They deserve it.
I know. Yeah, a lot of them do deserve it. But yeah, I know with New Zealand wrestling as a whole, there is a little bit of, we don't really want to see that, or that's a little bit questionable. Why is like a dude beating up on a woman? So it does raise that kind of topic as well. And so I feel like we do need to tread a little bit lightly when it comes to intergender matches and intergender segments when it comes to wrestling as well. Like you want to try and highlight, the good moments about it rather than necessarily the bad moments about it. And yeah, I think it's something that we're going to have to learn how to portray, and like, so we're not like crapping on like any of the talent who are involved in that as well.
Well, one intergender segment that occurred this year and is probably my favorite segment in New Zealand professional wrestling outside of any bell-to-bell match was you and Sir Mr. Burns up here in sunny Northland. Mr. Burns came out and cut a promo that had people just rampant, and you came out and you put some of those judo throws to great effect. How much fun is that side of things? We can get a little bit more playful, but still have that serious side to you. Do you enjoy that side of the business?
Oh, I love it. It was so good. I guess like he got the biggest heat of the night, and rightfully so. Like, why is he trying to ban like Te Reo Māori and the Samoan language as well? Like, get out of here with that kind of crap. No, I loved it, especially with a lot of people like that I had interactions after the show as well. And then they're like, oh, that's really awesome. You really stuck it to him. And it's just like, yeah, of course I did. Like, do I think he's going to like walk around in that ring and talk some smack? Nah, I don't think so. Not on my watch, buddy. Get out of here.
What are the long-term goals? Where do you see this going? Are you just playing things by ear at this stage, or do you have one eye on, eventually going overseas and really making a career out of this?
I really have my eye on trying to find a place in Japan and being able to like hone my skills and make me a better wrestler over there as well. Especially because they're amazing. Like I've seen a lot of the matches over there, so that is definitely my goal right now.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be quite a
Perfect
good fit
fit.
for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Maya, it's been awesome talking to you and getting an understanding of who you are, where you're going. We end all of these interviews with the 3 count. So there's 3 pieces of information that we're asking wrestlers from around the world to get to know them a little bit better. Question number 1, what TV series are you currently watching?
Oh, I just finished watching The Boys, I think on Friday. No, it wasn't The Boys, it was Gen V. So I just finished watching the latest season of Gen V.
Oh, very good. Nice. Describe the perfect day.
Perfect day. It'll be, well, I'm kind of lying here because I'm not exactly a morning person and I do love my sleeping. However, perfect day would be try and get up early, do a little bit of a hit session at the gym, and then, I'm perfect day. So it's going to be sunny so I can go head to the beach and just chill out for the rest of the day.
Me too.
Soak up some sun, try and top up on my tan.
When your career is over, how will you define its success?
Oh, maybe just by how many people I've been able to inspire and how many people that I've been able to resonate with. Like as long as I'm able to uplift their life in any way that I can, I think that is something that's, will define my legacy.
Very good. I like that. And I can tell you right now, and I'm sure you must have an inkling of it already, you are resonating with people. You are inspiring people. I see the looks on young girls and young women's faces, especially at these New Zealand events. They are inspired when you come to the ring. So well done on that. Mighty Maia, thank you so much for spending time with us. We're looking forward to this New Zealand Championship reign. Long may it continue. And maybe we'll catch up with you another time when you hit that 1-year anniversary of this championship reign. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, sounds awesome. I'm in for it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mighty Maia.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Hey, this is Brendan Vink, and you're listening to That Sweet Pop.
Welcome back, folks. Mighty Maia, the New Zealand Women's Champion. She was a lot of fun to talk to. I really like Maia. I like where she's going. I like where her head's at. She's determined, right? That's got to be the word for it. Determined, focused. She craves success. She comes from success. Clearly, to accomplish what she has in judo takes a certain kind of person. I think if she continues to apply that in wrestling, the sky's the limit.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the thing with Maia is she doesn't seem like she's settled, right? Like she's just accomplished her goal that she probably set for herself 2 years ago when she decided to do this. She's done it in a very quick time. But look, Maia, the sky's the limit, honestly. The base is there. The charisma is there. And I think we can, as wrestling fans in New Zealand, we can sit back and enjoy what's to come with Maia, and like a great interview as well. So great job, Maia, chatting to us. I thought you did an awesome job, and can't wait to get you back on the show again at some point in the near future.
Here. Now, Dominik Mysterio dropping the Intercontinental Championship earlier this week on Raw. John Cena buried Dom. Oh, he buried him, bro. Depends on what part of the internet you look at, but clearly
gave him so much.
You think if you think he got buried, then you're cooked.
Dion, how good is he going to be? Like, let's just stop and think about this for a sec. And to where he was sort of pre-COVID when he came into wrestling, then through the COVID era, like this guy, Dominik Mysterio, and we've talked about him before, man, he is a freaking superstar. He sat on that mic, his facial expressions in that promo were chef's kiss. Like, and he believed everything he was saying until the moment, and this is why he's such a good heel, until the moment Triple H said, you're defending that title tonight. He's like, no. Like, but everything else, like he mocked John, and you felt like he believed everything he said. And what a great promo. And anyone who thinks that John buried him is a dick, quite frankly. And I thought the John gave him a lot on the mic, obliterated him, but then allowed Dom to come back, and what a great match. And look, I know that we've got MSG coming up this weekend, John potentially, the rumor is he's pointing towards a War Games match, but I'd like to see Dom get that win back at Madison Square Garden. And yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, congratulations to John Cena, a Grand Slam champion, and he just showed how big that title and what that title means.
Yeah.
And he absolutely needs to be on the lineage of one of the greatest titles in the history of pro wrestling.
You know what I think it is with Dom is he's just so comfortable in his skin. It's been trial by fire as well with these promos, right?
Yeah.
It's either make or break with some of the stuff he's put up with against these crowds. But yeah, that promo was fantastic. I really loved John Cena's intensity in that one. Like it almost felt like you're gonna have to kill me to stop me from winning this championship tonight.
What did he say?
Boston crowd behind him.
What was the line he used, Dion? I'm invincible tonight. I think he said I'm invincible
tonight. And what a pop, as expected, when he won the championship. Boston was an amazing crowd.
Oh, great crowd. Do you think Dom's going to become the biggest babyface in pro wrestling? Because I do. I think WWE he's their next 15 years. He's their top babyface who occasionally you can switch back to heel if you need to, but he is it. A star is born. Dominik Mysterio is the future of that company.
Yeah, he'll certainly be the biggest babyface in his generation, in his era. And what I'm sort of suggesting is he's not quite in his era yet. He's still at the precipice of that, right? Before he becomes one of the guys, and he's certainly not far off that. Hey, speaking of the crowd, by the way, what I also found super interesting was the reaction Boston had to Cody Rhodes. And it had me thinking, we, along with countless of other professional wrestling fans, have been thinking, Cody's getting a little bit stale. It made me think for a little bit. Now, Boston is a traditionally tough wrestling crowd. It is a traditionally smart wrestling crowd. They were so behind Cody Rhodes throughout the night that it makes me think maybe there's some legs left in this mega babyface run, this white meat babyface run, and perhaps we don't need to be so quick to judgment regarding a heel turn or him dropping the title.
It's a fair point. I think the internet wants Cody Rhodes to turn heel. I certainly think it's something that would be amazing for his character, and I think he'd be really good at it. But I also think you're right. Like, the crowd still sang along. He still got a big pop when he came out. He got a pop when he appeared on screen to congratulate John. I think with Cody, Dion, he just needs the right opponent. And I've actually been surprised at, I guess, the lack of chemistry in some ways that he's had with Drew on screen. But I think if the rumors are true and it becomes Randy in either a title match or his redemption run after losing the title to Drew, which I kind of hope happens, to be honest with you. I think Drew deserves it. But yeah, Randy Orton could be the right sparring partner for Cody to get back to where he was in those feuds with Seth before he got injured and the Roman Reigns stuff.
Yeah. So that was a really good Raw, I thought, and continuing from our discussion last week of the creative evolution. Obviously, it's too early to tell whether there's a massive shift here, but I thought it was a really solid Raw. SmackDown before was good. Raw before that was I was a big fan of, as you know. Things are looking good as we start leading into WrestleMania. Long may it last.
Speaking of good, Dion, who am I?
I had one ready for you.
Well, I'm going to do one, and I'm going to do this slightly different.
Okay.
I'm doing this off the cuff with no notes, and we'll see how it goes. It could be an absolute train wreck. You might get it in one.
Oh, you're calling it in the ring, is what we're saying.
I'm calling it in the ring.
Very good. Okay.
I was managed in WWE by one of the greats. I started my WWE career in the early 1990s, and I was a dominant heel. My first WWE pay-per-view match was against the former bodyguard of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. It's Virgil, obviously. I come from one of pro wrestling's greatest lineages.
Can we pause there?
Yes.
We're talking about the Texas Tornado. Oh, no, we can't be because he wasn't managed by one of the greats.
No.
I wanted to say Kerry Von Erich.
We're not talking about Kerry Von Erich.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Okay.
Despite the fact that I was billed as coming from one country, I was actually born somewhere completely different.
Oh, I'm going to kick myself, aren't I?
I won my first WWE title in Las Vegas in 1993.
Okay. I'm going through
Then
WrestleMania
famously,
9.
a few months later, I won my second WWE title thanks to a flash from a cameraman.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. We're talking about Yokozuna.
We are.
Man, Yoko.
One of the greats.
Yeah.
One of the greats. And I think pre-Rock, I don't know if you agree with me with this, probably the biggest star to come out of that Maia Fatu lineage, right? Like he was the man. I know Rocky Johnson and was great and the High Chief was great, but I think Yoko was the first guy out of that big massive family to really, and he was the guy for a year, Dion, like beat Bret at Mania, beat Hogan at King of the Ring, came off best in his feud with Lex Luger, had a great feud with The Taker. He basically murdered him on television. If you remember at Royal Rumble when The Undertaker ascended from the Providence Civic Center there in 1994 at the Royal Rumble after getting buried in a casket by about 17 dudes. But I loved Yoko. And look, do you know the biggest shame for me in pro wrestling in that era is that Yoko wasn't able to control his weight? Because if you go and look at Yokozuna, that match with Virgil, his run at the Rumble, his match with Bret, when he was sort of in that 500-pound mark and just below it, the dude could go, man. Like he could go. He was athletic. And, you think of a Jacob Fatu, and if Yoko had been able to sort of stay just above maybe a Jacob Fatu's weight range, he could have been one of the greatest of all time. Not that he wasn't. But he was such a dominant, scary, believable champion. Great entrance music. Mr. Fuji was awesome. I was a big fan.
Yeah. You think of athletic big men from the era when we became fans, right? It'd be the one-man gang, Big Boss Man, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
Having that size and that athletic ability is it's a lethal combination. And Yoko was obviously on the bigger end of all of those, like you say. So, but certainly very athletic. And I was sold that he was a Japanese sumo wrestler.
Me too.
When I was younger, I was sold on the fact that of it, and him paired with Fuji, man, what a pairing they were.
I remember talking to a pro wrestling friend of mine who blew my mind when he told me that Yokozuna was the cousin of The Rock. I'm like, no, he's not.
What, The Rock's Japanese? Makes no sense.
He's from Japan, bro. I remember several years after Yoko sort of moved away and The Rock was becoming the star he was. Did you know Yokozuna and The Rock are like cousins? I'm like, no, they're not. And then sure enough, I find out that they actually were cousins. And man, what a family, Dion. And Cody Rhodes' entrance music starts off with there's more than one royal family in the WWE or wrestling or whatever it is. I think that the Maia/Fatu family surely is the greatest family in the history of this business. And they've got a bloke in Jacob Fatu who the sky's the limit for that guy as well.
Yeah,
so he is the next true superstar out of that family.
And you could have knocked me over with a feather if you told me that Yokozuna's real name was Rodney. Didn't look like a Rodney to me.
Anawai, yes, indeed. He did not look like a Rodney, did he?
He did not look. He looked like a Yokozuna.
He did. All right, Dion, coming up, as we mentioned last week, AEW Full Gear, not that far away. Looking like a decent card. Hangman Page for Samoa Joe. Really, really interested, Dion. I actually want to get your thoughts on this. Chris Statlander versus Mercedes Moné, who already owns about 17 titles. I think it's about 12. But Statlander kind of won the title a bit ho-hum in that fatal four-way, beating Toni Storm. I kind of feel like they should have reversed that and had her beat her in that singles match they had a month later, given how dominant Toni was as a champion. But I can't see them going any way than Mercedes as champ, and I think that will completely destroy all of this momentum that Statlander has built up. And she's been owed this for a long time because she's been one of their most consistent women's competitors.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll just destroy her. I mean, we joked earlier about people suggesting that Dom Mysterio has been buried, right, by losing to Cena. Obviously, that's on a different scale than Mercedes Moné. All I hope, and I agree, I think Statlander's on a hiding to nothing. She's not holding on to this championship. Mercedes Moné is going to have as many as her arms can carry. I just really hope there's a tremendous plan for how all these championships are going to be dropped. Whether she just goes on a losing streak, boom, 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 and they fall like dominoes, or if she retires undefeated with all of these championships and vacates championships around the world, who knows where it's going. I just hope it's a good plan.
You just can't see her going back to an indie. She holds a title in Scotland and in Belgium and all these other places. I just can't see her going back there and losing to anyone. So, look, I get it that it's been great publicity for all of these promotions, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. Outside of the Ring of Honor title that she owns and the AEW TBS title that she owns, I couldn't name one other title that she currently has, and that might be ignorance on my behalf, but they may have booked themselves into a corner, as they say, with Mercedes.
I don't think it's ignorance, by the way. I don't think it is ignorance, and if we looked at the list, we'd go, oh yeah, of course, that one. I think it's because there are so many that you can't. Why would you look them up, or why would you remember?
And Tony Khan's created another title because, just because the AEW National Championship Casino Gauntlet match will take place, my pick is that Ricochet will win that championship in that little battle royal gimmick that they like to have called the Casino Gauntlet, which is their version of the Royal Rumble. I just say, Tony, create an event called, the Casino Gauntlet, and you have a men's and women's match once a year, and don't overbook that because it's the third time this year you've had one of those matches. And then Survivor Series, November 29. I cannot wait for this card. Petco Park, I think they're getting close to 40,000 people. I think it's around 36, 37 at the moment. More and more tickets are selling every day. And I think we're heading towards potentially, the rumor mill is saying John Cena will be involved in War Games. We've seen those matches take shape, both on the women's and men's side. I'm sure there'll be some other stuff as well. We might even have maybe the odd John Cena Memorial Tournament match could take place at Survivor Series, maybe the semifinals. I don't know, but the card taking shape real well. One of my favorite events of the year. What are your thoughts, Dion? Do you think there's room in the Survivor Series now for a traditional Survivor Series match? Because I do miss those. I miss those traditional 5-on-5s.
Yeah, I agree. I miss them. I think if War Games wasn't there, we'd miss them more. But obviously, War Games is a gimmicky match in a similar sort of vein. But we have so many PLEs, pay-per-views, television. I'm a big fan of singles matches over tag matches over triple threats and fatal four-ways, but I think there is room on the calendar for something different like this. Now, there have been rumors this week that TKO are looking at dropping some of the bigger pay-per-views that were created under the Vince McMahon era. I don't know if that's actually true or if it's been misinterpreted and people have just latched onto it and said this is what that thing means. But I'd hate to see the big four disappear. Survivor Series, always one of my favorites.
Shout out to Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful, who did manage to get that clarified. And I think he was referring to those sort of mid-month pay-per-views, right? So your big four, your tentpole events are going to stay, and you might see WrestlePalooza, I now think is going to be something they move forward with, and you might see your Bad Bloods and your Backlashes. I think Elimination Chamber is kind of into that tentpole area. What do you reckon, Dion? I kind of feel like, given how important that match is for the road to WrestleMania, it's kind of almost tentpoley now, and Money in the Bank as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Which just goes to show the power of the brand, right? And the power of how these... Do you remember when they moved to monthly pay-per-views from In Your House, and then they went to the 3-hour pay-per-views? It felt like too much, and it is a little bit too much still, but more tent-poley, yes, certainly in the road to WrestleMania, where you've got Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and then WrestleMania itself back to back to back. But yeah. Hey, do you mind if I give away the Tu Meke Trophy this week?
The floor is yours, Mr. McCracken.
Excellent. So I've got a very short story to share at the end of it. So we had a conversation a little bit earlier, Brad and I, about who deserves a Tu Meke Trophy this week, and it goes to none other than Nikki Bella. who took a championship belt to the back of the head, or to the front of the forehead, actually, of Stephanie Vaquer, and turned heel this week on Raw. Congratulations, Nikki Bella, on the Tu Meke Trophy. What I'm most delighted about, and delighted isn't a word I use terribly often, is the fact that in this little run that Nikki Bella's had, she's felt relevant. She's felt like she can match pace. No, she's never been the most technically gifted of the division. We know that, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to be, but it feels like she's belonged. She's been in interesting stories. For me, this is good for Stephanie Vaquer. It's interesting for Nikki Bella. It looked like it was going to go somewhere anyway. So yeah, congrats to Nikki Bella. You felt much the same way, Brad.
Yeah, and look, it gives a legitimate opponent, former champ for Stephanie Vaquer, to keep continuing to build her resume as we move into potentially bigger things for her. Hopefully it also keeps her away from Rhea in the War Games match, because we don't really want to see those two sort of clash until sort of next year. So yeah, and you could probably run this twice. You could go Survivor Series and then potentially into Royal Rumble, and that you've filled out Stephanie's sort of calendar for the next 2 months. And Nikki's a viable opponent. She's a former champ. She's one of the biggest names women's pro wrestling's ever seen, despite the fact you may mock that statement. Like, look at the facts. She's a multi-time champion. What I did find hilarious is that the crowd at Boston were chanting, "Cena dumped you." But I tell you, Massachusettsians, look into the history of that relationship. Nikki Bella dumped John Cena. A true story.
Here's my super quick Nikki Bella story before we wrap up. When I was contracting for WWE, just before Super Showdown, which took place in Melbourne, of course, at the MCG, there was a meet and greet opportunity for fans to come and meet the Bellas. It was out in a little bit out of the Melbourne CBD. It was about a half an hour, 45-minute drive away. We were setting up for the event. There was going to be 1,500 fans there. I was going to be on stage hosting the Bellas for about an hour in front of these people. And about half an hour before we were due to pick the Bellas up, while we were setting all the staging up, my tight business pants ripped. And man, did they rip. We're not talking like a rip. We're talking like my hands are going off the screen. It was a rip. Fortunately, it was a mall. I managed to go to the mall and get them quickly repaired after begging the lady at the tailors to please help a brother out. And I know what you're thinking, Brad. Why couldn't you just gone to the shop and bought a new pair of pants? I get it. I understand. But I was cursed with shorter legs than the average man, I suppose. I can't just buy pants off the shelf and put them on and wear them, Brad. These things have to be taken up. I needed these pants to be repaired. So look, anyway, we met the Bellas in the car they were being driven to. I jumped in the car, had a couple of minutes with them before we kicked things off. Said, "Hey, I'm Dion. I'm hosting the gimmick today." We had a bit of small talk. It got quiet in the car. And then I said, "You'll never guess what happened half an hour ago, ladies. As these fans were gathering, I tore my pants." And Brad, when I tell you the concern from the Bella twins for my torn pants, I've never felt more seen, Brad. I've never felt more seen.
Could you tell them apart?
Yeah, can you not?
Yeah, I can. My wife can't, but there is definitely if you watch wrestling close enough, you can definitely tell them apart.
Oh, there are signs. Yeah, there are signs.
Do you know what I also love, just quickly before we close the show? Nikki Bella revealed on her podcast that she has with Brie this week that Daniel Bryan Danielson, constantly giving her advice and watching her matches and giving her feedback. And look, I know they're family, but it's nice to know that someone from AEW is helping out someone from WWE and vice versa. And, could you get a better teacher than Bryan Danielson? I think not.
Yeah, love that. Love that. All right, folks, if you want to find out a little bit more about us and about the show, please head along to our website, www.thatsweetpop.com. Episodes drop here on YouTube every Monday at 8 p.m. Please give us a like and a subscribe. Leave a comment this week. Tell us about your WrestleMania card.
Please.
We can also be available on your podcast listening needs on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts as well. Or follow us on socials on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I'd love to hear our listeners' ideas of the WrestleMania card. What do they agree with? What do they disagree with? What's not going to work? What are their ideas on some of the matches coming up?
Me too.
All right, folks, thanks so much for sticking with us. We look forward to seeing what those matches will be. And until next time, have a good one.
Go Kitty.